And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the semi-finals of OlimoLeague week number 234, your weekly dose of OlimoLeague action. It has been an intense day of StarCraft already. We had show matches, we had the group stage of a European tournament, and now we are here with OlimoLeague. Oh boy, and it's been an intense series or intense tournament already. Some top players have risen and have fallen here. We've lost players like Hero has fallen by the wayside, Hero, Cure, Bjorn, and many other top players have fallen by the wayside, but now we have our top four. Now we have our top four remaining players. We have Rogue, YoungYakov, Shin, and Classic. Here we go. We have our top four, and we are here to determine who is this week's champion. Who is this week's OlimoLeague champion? We're here to find out. We're jumping into our first semifinals of the night, our first ZvZ of the night in YoungYakov versus Rogue. Let's go. Let us go. Also, before I get ahead of myself, a big shout out to Cyan in the chat. To Cyan, thank you so much. Obrigado. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session as well. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you had a great time, and welcome everyone to OlimoLeague. Likewise as well, I have since gotten a bite to eat. I've gotten some water. I've been able to hydrate my hydras. I drained my disruptors. I massaged all of my marines, and now we are here to embrace the semis and the conclusion of the tournament. Let's go. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Frostline, we have the red Zerg player. It is YoungYakov. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. Whew. Okay, we can calm things down. We can settle in. I am full of energy. I'm full of all the energy, Pappy. Let's go. Let's go. We can go all night long. Ah, beautiful. Ay. Jesus. 14, 15 hours casting. That's nothing. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. As for now, we are setting up. Hatch got full standard opener out of YoungYakov, likewise standard opener out of Rogue as well. So far so good. What I will say though is that we do typically see both these players embrace and be very chaotic and aggressive in the mid game of ZvZ. The openers so far are standard, but I'm sure the mid game is going to be anything but. So we'll keep an eye on the gas saturation. We'll keep an eye on whether or not our players take a third base, whether they skip their Bailey nest, whether they embrace early roaches. There is a lot to take into account in this ZvZ. But again, we do have a Zerg player at least confirmed for the finals. We drained we drained all the disruptors. Ah, let's go. We tucked in the Tempest. We cuddled the Colossus. We marinated the Marauders. We stretched the Roaches. And what else did we do? We pet all the probes. Now we can settle in. Beautiful, beautiful. For now, though, we do have our standard openers. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the norm yet. Ling's going to be moving out for a bit of a scout. Likewise, we should soon be looking to expand as well. We've pulled out a gas, only 2 in the main. Likewise, only 2 here in the main as well. So we're working towards Ling Bane. No early gas income, no earlier gas income, I should emphasize. Third bases are being taken, and we are soon to enter the Ling Bane phase of ZvZ. Let's go. Should soon be entering Ling Bane. I'll do my best to keep up with the movements of the players and make sure I don't miss any major Bailey connections. Do my best. Speaking of, there we go. Bailey nest here for YoungYakov, Bailey nest for Rogue. As I did mention, everything so far has been looking very by the book. And we'll see if either player does make a plethora of Lings or if we just join off from here. Just don't milk the mules. Jesus. Ah, no. You're all animals, Pop. You're all animals. Ay. Contain your cat. No, you cuddle the carriers. You cuddle them. Oh my god. as so far we do have a wave of links on the way for both players. Both players still going to be joining up as well, so no major forms of aggression here from either player. We do see YoungYakov moving out for a moment. It does catch one ling, but we'll see what he can get done across the map. As so far Rogue has his queens in position, the lings as well. Safety bailing's going to be on the way, and Rogue should be fine. He should be able to hold on. He should be able to deflect. Ooh, but do you see what I see? I see an earlier Roach Warren from the side of YoungYakov. Roach Warren gets placed, he backs off, he's droning up. Both players have a comparable economy. Rogue, his own Roach Warren, a couple seconds behind, but not too much longer. Just behind by a couple of seconds, so we're just settling in. Neither player has heavily invested into Ling Bane. This is really just defensive setups here of Ling Bane, which means we're just droning. We're droning, we're saturating, which means we are both heading into the Roach v Roach phase of ZvZ. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that we are very seamlessly kind of entering this phase of the game, but we are loading into Frostline. I should have mentioned this before, but Frostline is one of the larger maps in the map pool, very long rush distance by ground, so we do see both players just not going to risk being too aggressive or too assertive here. We're getting into Roach versus Roach instead. First Eva Chamber for the side of Rogue for +1. Meanwhile, YoungYakov, ooh, there we go, Eva Chamber on the way as well. Getting to our Eva Chambers, soon to be taking up as well in towards Lairs, in towards Roach Speed, into extra gases. So far, both players macroing up. Speaking of Lair, there it is, Lair out of, or Lair's on the way from YoungYakov. Getting into his Lair tech, Rogue should not be too far behind, as both players are embracing more Roach production. The longer this goes on, oh, Rogue, the longer this goes on without a Lair, it's an all-in. Here we go, Rogue, he is massing purely Roaches. This looks like a hatch tech all-in, pure Roach Ling Bane out of Rogue. Meanwhile, YoungYakov is being assertive, but YoungYakov, he's droning. He's droning up behind this. He's also investing into tech, investing into upgrades, +1 melee on the way, Lair is on the way as well. YoungYakov is moving up, but again, he's still droning, and because YoungYakov is droning, Rogue can overwhelm. Rogue, he can overwhelm. You can see YoungYakov, he feigned aggression. He's going to be backing off from here. Little does he know that Rogue is going for an all-in. Rogue is all-inning, and YoungYakov, he will soon realize what's going on. He's going for the Spire. I mean, +1 melee does coincide with Spire play, so he's trying to rush into Mutas. Rogue is looking to try to end the game before Mutas hit the field. Rogue doesn't even know what YoungYakov's up to. All he knows, though, is that Rogue is most likely being greedy. As YoungYakov most likely being greedy. As YoungYakov is going up to 3-base saturation, taking his gases, and here comes Rogue, sending everything across the map. How many Roaches? 26. Sorry, 33 against the 15 Roaches of his opponents. Oh my god. YoungYakov barely has an army. He barely has an army. He's been caught with his pants down. He was caught droning. He was caught teching. He needs an army more than anything here and now. But alas, Rogue, he is here to knock down that front door and to cripple YoungYakov before he can embrace the Mutas. Roaches, they file in. They zone YoungYakov away. They're making their way in towards that natural. Spine Crawlers are in production. They're about to finish up. But they might just be too late. Yeah, as Roaches, they bust into the natural. Spine Crawlers are being denied. No transfuse. Third base going to be falling as well. And Rogue, he is doing it. He is breaking through. Again, the split of the Mutas, the Spire is still on the way. Lings, they flood into reinforce. The third base has been broken, and so is the natural. The natural has also been compromised. As boys are being pulled, more workers are going to be falling. 6 Mutas are on the way. But Rogue, this is critical damage. And Mutas, they're great and all, but they won't be able to clean this up. Not in time. As Rogue knocks down the Roach Warren. From here, he can just bust into the natural itself. Doesn't have to waste his time at the third. Takes down the Painliness as well. Lings, they flood in. Mutas, they reveal themselves. But again, it's going to take so long. It's going to take so long for the Mutas to really do anything to this army. Boys are being pulled. Spine Crawler goes down. All the tech has fallen, and GG gets called. Rogue takes game number 1. Whew. GG, well played. Rogue does take a lead in the series, and again, it just came down to the fact that Rogue, he went for a hatch-based all-in. He just droned up to, was it 60? Was it, I wouldn't say less than 60 workers, but just under 3-base saturation. He cut worker production. He just embraced nothing but Roach. Nothing but Roach, Ling Bane, mainly just Roach Ling. And unfortunately for YoungYakov, he had no idea. He had no idea what was going on. YoungYakov, he did not scout. He did not scout the main. He did not scout the natural. YoungYakov, he teched up. He took gases, got into upgrades with his Evo Chamber, took the Lair, went into a Spire, droned up even further. Everything that is not making roaches. GG, well played. Gets caught with his pants down, and now we are jumping into game number 2. Let's go. Jumping into game 2. Again, it's one of those things that is typically plaguing the European Zerg players, and they often do talk about it and complain about it. They're like, mate, these Korean Zergs, they're animals. They just cut workers whenever they want, and they just kill you. And it's like, yes, you're not wrong. It does happen quite often when involving players like Dark, Rogue, Shin, Solar. They're all animals, Papi. I mean, that's ZvZ for you. And here we go. We're jumping into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of King's Cove. We have the red Zerg player down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is YoungYakov. And spawning in the top left-hand corner. Oh my god, let's go. 13-12. He's going for the 13-12 and spawning in the top left-hand corner. We have the South Korean Zerg player leading series 1-0. But can he survive the aggression of his opponents? Representing Team Falcons, it is Rogue. This is crazy, by the way, especially on a map like King's Cove. A very large map in the map pool, longer rush distance by ground. Bold move for YoungYakov to go for an aggressive build like this. Again, 13-12 into an expand. Interesting. Now with this, we should be able to rush into link speed, go for a link flood across the map. The expansion alongside this is really throwing me off though. I'm curious how this all comes together here. Usually you would actually skip the hatchery and go for a faster baneliness, and this will be fast link speed into a bane bust. But we'll see if YoungYakov pulls out. And he is. Okay, we have confirmation. He pulls out. What does that mean? Only link speed, no bane bust. So this is a macro variation of 13-12 or even 12-11 if I think it was a 13-12. If I recall correctly. But this is a more macro variation, again, because of the faster expansion, no baneliness, so it's only link speed. Only link flood here from YoungYakov. He does skirt around the edge. What does this mean? This means he avoids the scouting overlord. He avoids the overlord, and ideally avoids the second overlord as well, as he moves out across the map, and Rogue is going for a standard hatch gas pool. Standard hatch gas pool. Rogue, he does not scout, by the way. It is not realized what's going on. Eventually he will, but I mean, because of the earlier hatch timing, it is more difficult to really confirm what's going on. So I actually really like this build here by YoungYakov, and he's making nothing but links. YoungYakov, you can see here, he's on 10 drones. He has not made a worker in quite at all this game. He has not droned whatsoever. Which means I'm pretty sure this was a 12-11. But regardless, is now going to be flooding out with his lings. He will soon pull the trigger, and we'll see if he can catch Rogue with his pants down. As he will soon move out. Link speed finishing up in 10 seconds. We are 10 seconds away. As lings, they do rock up on the queen. They get the surround. Oh, they try to. There we go. The first queen gets surrounded. The boys are being pulled. Second queen gets surrounded instead. But so far, oh, the lings are deflected. So far, Rogue, he's holding. Oh. He's holding on. Remember, the longer this goes on, the worse it is for YoungYakov. The lings, they flood into the main. They avoid the queens. But last there are more drones to defend. The boys are being pulled off the mineral line. No, they get caught out. Lings do get caught for a moment there. Likewise, YoungYakov trying to catch reinforcements. More boys being pulled. They come in for this round. They do protect the queens. And Rogue, he's holding. He's completely shutting this down. Ay, ay, ay. Too many losses too quickly here. And YoungYakov, he does not get a single queen. He gets on top of the base, that is true, but Rogue, he has 10 more lings in production. He's just buying time for the lings. The hatchery is under fire. Has taken a lot of damage. Lings almost get surrounded, but yeah, now Rogue can fight. Now Rogue can just fight this head on. YoungYakov almost gets the surround. Almost. Lings, they bypass the queens. They bust into the main. Oh, good. But that's a lot of queens. 3 queens, they hold their own. Boys are being pulled. 1 drone goes down. How many in total? 2. Only 2 drone kills. That's crazy. Only 3 drones going down, and Rogue, he holds. GG gets called. Rogue shuts down the aggression, shuts down YoungYakov, and Rogue will be the first to make it to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Rogue, he will survive, he will take it. Again, time was working against YoungYakov. He was completely 100% all in, and unfortunately he was unable to get the queens. The queens, as they build up over time, of course they have transfuse, they add of course ranged DPS to the defense as well, and alas, he was unable to snipe any of them. And we saw it wasn't just about saving the queens, but shout out to Rogue for his worker micro. He multiple times was able to pull the boys in time specifically to protect the queens, to hold position micro or to surround the queens as well, to protect them, to keep them from being surrounded, and to maintain that position. So very impressive defense there out of Rogue, considering it was a standard opener. It was hatch gas pull out of Rogue, and it was a very late scout as well. Remember, Rogue, he missed the lings with the Overlord, so that was the best case scenario for YoungYakov. That was the best case scenario. Despite that, Rogue defense. Crazy. GG, well played. Rogue does advance on to the grand finals, and the question becomes, who will face off against Rogue in those finals? Up next, we have a ZVP between Shin and Classic. Let's go.